Welcome to your week in review here on WINN FM 98.9 for the period December 9th through 14th. Making the news last week, Ambassador Henry Martin reaffirms St. Kitts and Nevis's commitment to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. CARICOM chair calls for collaboration in tapping into digital revolution.
Water engineer anticipates desalination plants will be online in 2025.
HIV and AIDS Secretariat Director reports 237 known cases of HIV in St. Kitts and Nevis, suggests the actual number is higher.
NEVLEC considers other renewable energy options whilst geothermal is pursued. NEVLEC to implement grid code and battery energy storage systems. Dr. Jensen Morton anticipates that the digitization of St. Kitts and Nevis's health system would be a hallmark achievement. Cape Air debuts connectivity from the United States Virgin Islands to St. Kitts.
Now the details. The Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, OAS, held a special meeting on December 1st, 2024, in the Simon Bolivar Room at the OAS headquarters to commemorate Human Rights Day. This event served as a platform for member states to reflect on their dedication to human rights and to acknowledge the contributions of the international human rights community. Her Excellency Jacinth Henry Martin, Ambassador of St. Kitts and Nevis to the United States and Permanent Representative to the OAS, played a pivotal role in the proceedings by reaffirming her country's steadfast commitment to advancing and protecting human rights. In her speech, Ambassador Henry Martin emphasized the enduring values of equality, dignity, and respect enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on December 10, 1948. This declaration has become a pillar of global human rights law and continues to inspire the creation of over 70 human rights treaties. Ambassador Henry Martin's remarks highlighted that despite global progress, troubling human rights violations persist in many regions. Her heartfelt address highlighted the struggles faced by individuals and communities deprived of their freedom and subjected to conditions that violated their fundamental rights. She expressed deep concern over the rising incidence of injustice, undermining the ideals the Universal Declaration of Human Rights espoused. In a poignant moment, Ambassador Henry Martin acknowledged the significant threats posed by climate change, which she argued are increasingly impacting human rights, particularly in small island nations like St. Kitts and Nevis.
The impacts of climate change pose significant challenges to the human rights of people in small states such as St. Kitts and Nevis, where rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and environmental degradation threaten livelihoods, housing, and access to essential resources.
She outlined how these environmental factors disrupt lives and jeopardize rights to health and well-being, underscoring the critical need for integrated approaches to ensure resilience against climate-related adversities. In her statement, she further emphasized food insecurity as a growing form of vulnerability, saying,
"When people lack access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food, their rights to health, life, and dignity are fundamentally compromised."
This reinforces the importance of holistic solutions encompassing climate resilience and human rights protections. Throughout her address, the ambassador expressed gratitude for the efforts of judges Eduardo Ferreira McGregor and Humberto Antonio Serra Porta, who are concluding their terms at the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. She thanked them for their invaluable contributions to human rights in the region. Ambassador Henry Martin's genuine commitment to human rights reflects St. Kitts and Nevis's national policies and aligns with the broader goals of the OAS and the international community. In closing, she expressed heartfelt appreciation to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights President, judges, and survivors present at the meeting. She also commended the dedicated Secretariat staff for their steadfast commitment to advancing and preserving human rights across the Americas.
Your stalwart efforts to uphold justice, promote inclusivity, and protect the most vulnerable have had a far-reaching and enduring impact on the lives of many within our region.
Ambassador Henry Martin's passionate invocation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and its core principles reasserts St. Kitts and Nevis's role as a proactive advocate for human rights within the OAS and the broader international community. Her words resonate as a call to collective action, urging all member states to renew their efforts towards ensuring equity, justice, and the protection of human dignity for all individuals, regardless of their circumstances or background. The profound commitment expressed by St. Kitts and Nevis reinforces the notion that human rights are universal and must be upheld for the benefit of every person across the globe. On December 10th, 2024, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell of Grenada delivered a powerful keynote address at the Connected Caribbean Summit in Miami, Florida. Prime Minister Mitchell called for a bold regional collaboration to harness the digital revolution and enhance Caribbean integration as the current chair of CARICOM and the lead head of responsibility for science and technology within the CARICOM quasi-cabinet. His address themed Action Time, Accelerating Caribbean Integration and Development, emphasized digital technology's transformative potential while acknowledging the region's significant challenges. During his speech, Prime Minister Mitchell highlighted the critical need for unity and decisive action in the face of formidable challenges that have historically fragmented the Caribbean.
And the barriers are familiar, perhaps not so familiar. Climate change, I think by now everyone appreciates, is a major challenge, an existential one, and it continues to ravage our shores while we are scrambling constantly for resources to rebuild. Cybersecurity has emerged as a major threat while our economies are now beginning to digitize, but we remain completely fragmented in our defenses. And it's already been addressed this morning. Social inequities persist, leaving too many people on the margins of opportunity.
These remarks painted a vivid picture of the socioeconomic barriers that hinder regional progress. Moreover, he drew from real-life experiences such as the development of Starlink technology during Hurricane Beryl to illustrate how digital solutions can enhance resilience and connectivity in crises. Mitchell's vision for the future is equally ambitious. He posited that the digital age offers unprecedented opportunities for innovation and growth. He emphasized the goal of ensuring that every citizen has access to affordable, high-speed internet and establishing regional hubs that can drive progress in key sectors such as agriculture, tourism, and manufacturing. The Caribbean Chair laid a digital transformation roadmap, pinpointing 4 critical areas: fostering partnership with private sector, streamlining regulatory processes, making significant investments in digital infrastructure, and prioritizing digital skills development.
The global job market is transforming, and the demand for digital competencies is growing rapidly across every sector.
He stated, acknowledging that equipping the Caribbean youth with the necessary digital tools is vital for future success. In his conclusion, Prime Minister Mitchell called on all stakeholders to collaborate boldly, innovate fearlessly, and act accountably.
It is simply not the time for timidity. If we are timid, we will be left behind. We need to ensure that we innovate fearlessly, and I therefore want us to recognize and appreciate the existing innovators that we already have in the region who are doing their part to make sure that the Caribbean is not left behind in this particular revolution. This is a moment for gravitas and inspiration. We need both. And so sometimes we may take ourselves too seriously and not take the task at hand seriously. We need to do both. It is a wonderful opportunity. It is an opportunity that should excite all of us. And it's an opportunity that we should grasp together, collectively, to ensure that the collaboration and connection creates the infrastructure, creates the institutions, and continues to inspire the next generation of Caribbean citizens to make us more connected and more successful. We need to move beyond resilience to that of sustainability and to that of success.
As CARICOM looks to the future, the summit served as a vital platform for fostering discussions on transforming from dialogue to actionable initiatives, ultimately paving the way for a cohesive and digitally empowered Caribbean community.
Mr. Cromwell Williams, a manager and engineer at the Water Services Department, projects that the Bastia desalination plant will be completed by summer 2025. The plant, located at the CA Paul Southwell Industrial Site, is in its early stages of construction. Upon completion, it will allow for 24-hour water restoration efforts in Bastia.
So we finally started the Bastia desalination plant, 2 million gallons per day. That has actually had ground earth movements and so on. We've started the actual construction of the site, and so that is expected to be substantially completed around July or August of next year. So once that plant is completed, the residents of Bastia and the surrounding areas should move. We should be able to restore 24-hour supply. So that's basically where we are in terms of meeting our shortfall in terms of production capacity at the moment.
The desalination plant at Canada Estate is completed and undergoing testing. However, there are concerns about erosion in its vicinity, which requires some work.
Good. So that plant is substantially completed and we're in the testing phase. Some minor bugs that are being sorted out, still to be sorted out, and so we expect that definitely maybe in the first quarter, that plant will be commissioned.
Mr. Williams anticipates the commissioning of the Canada Estate desalination plant in February 2025.
In a recent interview on WINN's Island Tea on December 11th, 2024, Dr. Matthias Ufre, director of the St. Kitts HIV/AIDS Secretariat, emphasized the ongoing challenges and strategies in the fight against HIV and AIDS in the Federation. The discussion highlighted the current state of HIV awareness, prevention strategies, and the urgency of addressing misconceptions about the disease. On the heels of World AIDS Day, commemorated globally every year on December 1st, Dr. Ufre, in conversation with WINN, said,
The 1st of December is always acknowledged as World AIDS Day. And for this year, the theme for this year is Take the Right Path. In other words, everybody has a right and everybody should be acknowledged. So without discrimination, without stigma, everybody should be acknowledged. Everybody have the right to access health care. Everybody have the right to be tested. Everybody have the right to access medication. Everybody have the right to be themselves based on their decision that has to do with their sexuality. So taking the right path is taking the right path to stand to eliminate stigma and discrimination and ensuring health care for all.
Dr. Ufre revealed that there are approximately 237 known cases of HIV in St. Kitts and Nevis, but cautioned that this number likely underrepresents the actual situation. He suggested that the number may be higher because of a lack of testing.
You can multiply that times 4. Why? Because most persons have not been tested, and as such, we cannot completely give you a fixed figure.
The Ministry of Health is working to enhance testing availability across health centers and hospitals, emphasizing that HIV is still out there. The director elaborated on the difference between HIV and AIDS, explaining that HIV is the virus responsible for damaging the immune system leading to AIDS, which represents the syndrome resulting from advanced HIV infection. Dr. Ufre pointed out that preventing exposure to HIV is crucial, especially during the festive season when risky behaviors may increase.
This festive period, people make some rash decisions. And of course, sometimes because of the high consumption of alcohol, some persons actually make decisions they will not make if they're in the right senses. That's why we're saying that get tested, know your status, and condomize. The ABC of prevention is abstinence. Abstinence is very much still an option.
He warned, advocating for awareness and education about safe practices. To combat HIV, the Secretariat actively engages in various outreach initiatives, including condom distribution drives and school educational programs. Dr. Ufre highlighted the importance of shared responsibility in testing, encouraging both partners to get tested rather than assuming safety based on one partner's status.
And the other thing that I want to make the public know is that, yes, your partner might be going to test. And you say, if my partner is good, I am good. That is definitely false, because we have had couples where one is positive and the other is negative.
During the interview, Dr. Ufre also addressed concerns regarding the perceived decline in the urgency of AIDS awareness. He noted that the fear factor associated with AIDS has diminished significantly due to advancements in treatment influencing public perception.
Because of the treatment availability, and people feel like, yes, I can die from AIDS anymore.
He stated, suggesting that greater awareness and education efforts are needed. He acknowledged that while efforts to inform the public are ongoing, increased public service announcements and outreach are needed. Dr. Ufre confirmed that 86% of patients adhere to their treatment regimen, essential for effectively managing the virus. He encouraged individuals to be proactive about their health and to maintain open conversations about sexual health with partners.
People don't have conversations these days anymore. You just want to go in. I know you today. I get intimate with you today.
He lamented, underscoring the importance of communication in reducing the risks of STI transmission. The director highlighted the Secretariat's commitment to providing free access to treatment and testing, a significant advantage in St. Kitts and Nevis compared to global trends where such services often require payment.
In fact, most countries you have to pay for the treatment. But in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Ministry of Health and the government have ensured that testing and treatment is free and is available.
Looking forward, Dr. Ufre expressed hope for an expanded presence of health services at local events to heighten awareness and accessibility. Plans for distributing condoms at large gatherings such as carnival festivities were also discussed. He concluded with a poignant reminder to the public during this celebratory season.
Please, Santa will be going around giving shiny gifts. Just make sure that the gift you're receiving is not STI or HIV. So be smart.
Dr. Ufre's call to action highlights the ongoing need for vigilance, education, and community engagement in the fight against HIV and AIDS in St. Kitts and Nevis, particularly as stigma and misinformation continue to pose significant challenges.
As the climate crisis escalates, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is focusing on the transition from conventional energy to renewable sources of energy. Nevis, in particular, has considerable geothermal potential that is being exploited. Nevis's lone electricity supplier, Nevlec, is moving ahead with other renewable energy projects to meet short-term power demands. On Budget Day, December 3, the Premier of Nevis, Mark Brantley, reported on plans to install solar energy panels on government buildings and upgrade the wind farm to increase the island's energy generation capacity.
Nevlec is actively pursuing several other renewable energy projects to address our short-term capacity needs. These include the development of a large solar PV project to be located at Maddens to assist in meeting short-term demand and reduce the likelihood of power outages. The management of Nevlec is also in discussion with the owners of the existing wind farm to improve its output and modernize its existing equipment. Moreover, plans are well advanced and funding has already been secured to finance the installation of rooftop solar PV on government facilities, including government buildings with high energy consumption and at our water pumping stations.
In the proposal of the Geothermal Energy Transition Project, St. Kitts and other neighboring islands are expected to benefit. The Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, the K&K Group, and Siemens Energy, based in the United Arab Emirates, have been working with the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to help the country diversify its energy source.
As it relates to our own geothermal project, which represents the cornerstone of Nevis's and the Federation's commitment to renewable energy, my government has already secured significant financing from the Caribbean Development Bank towards the drilling of geothermal production and reinjection wells. I'm happy to report that despite many setbacks, the project is now progressing well. The tender for drilling contractors has been sent out, and a number of inter-regional and international contractors have been shortlisted to bid for the project. The return of the bid documents is projected for February 2025. It should be noted that this is the second round of bidding, following a first round which resulted in the receipt of 3 bids, none of which met our requirements. At the completion of that unsuccessful exercise, there was a consultation with top firms in the industry. Following that exercise, there was a revision of the bidding document to address issues raised during that consultation.
According to Premier Brantley, none of the 3 bids received in the first round of the bidding process met the requirements, hence the need for a second bidding process.
The next steps, Madam President, will include site visits by prospective bidders, scheduling pre-bid meetings with shortlisted firms in January to address any further queries or concerns, return of bid documents in February 2025, evaluation of those bids, and approval of a selected firm, immediately followed by the execution of the contract with the successful bidders, and finally, the commencement, long-awaited commencement of the drilling process. The final timelines in relation to the above list of activities will no doubt depend on the number and quality of bids received. The design of the geothermal power plant will also depend on the outcome of the drilling program. However, we will be requesting expressions of interest from suitable firms during the first quarter of the new fiscal year to begin to sensitize them about this project. Financing towards the construction of the power plant and overall grid upgrades is already being sourced from the CDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, and the Green Climate Fund, GCF, with whom I met recently here in Nevis. It is expected that the plant will be developed based on a private-public partnership.
There is a need to create an integrated and comprehensive system of citizens' health information that will allow the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to make prudent decisions in addressing health-related challenges and also allow for greater efficiency, accessibility, and transparency in the health system. It has been almost 2 decades since the first attempt was made at digitizing the health system. Despite assistance from St. Kitts and Nevis's 41-year diplomatic partner Taiwan, the project had been in the infancy stage for a long time. Director of Health Institutions in the Ministry of Health, St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Jensen Morton, discussed the digitization of the health sector during a WINN exclusive on December 10. He explained that over the years, multiple attempts were made to revive the project, but different challenges caused those attempts to fail.
So with regards to digitization, the first attempt at digitizing healthcare in St. Kitts actually occurred way back in 2006. And it was a full attempt, it was a full thrust forward, but there were a few hiccups there. On the one hand, it was not strongly supported by some key figures at the time, key figures or key members of staff at the time. And for two, there were some lacks with regards to the overall infrastructural framework that would have been needed for the system to be successful. Those two things proved to be a serious challenge. So it was put on the back burner. It was rekindled in 2016, and both times it was done with the assistance of the Republic of China and Taiwan. And it was rekindled in 2016 by the Republic of China and Taiwan. It was a significant investment that would have been garnered to that date to the tune of hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars to try to get this project up and running. But in the second attempt in 2016, again, some hiccups were run into, and again, the project was shelved.
The implementation of the health records system in St. Kitts and Nevis has been long overdue, and the aim is to see the project to fruition, Morton said.
So now with our dispensation and with us coming on stream, and as time has progressed, the need for an electronic medical record system, it is no longer something that's novel, and it's no longer something that's internationally groundbreaking. It's actually a case in which we inherited an analog system of running a healthcare institution and a Ministry of Health on a whole. And we are actually now behind when compared to the rest of the region. All of the other islands from years back, bit by bit, they were able to put in some form of electronic health record system. And now we are one of the last in the region that is still using paper-based forms and paper on a whole for the bulk of our medical records. So as part of our accreditation goals, of course, it also involves having a high level of efficiency with regards to the management of patient information, the ordering of tests, and the management of medical records of patients. So we are going forth with this project 110%.
To accommodate the high-functioning electronic health record system, the Ministry of Health upgraded its infrastructural framework with a fiber optic system, courtesy of the cable, and a team of information technology experts. Having addressed the connectivity issues, the software, which had been presented by Taiwan, is undergoing upgrades and updates to meet the demands of the health professionals and staff that will be utilizing the system. To drive a secure and sustainable digital transformation health system, the government, through the Ministry of Health, aims to equip all hospitals, health centers, and other health units with advanced technological devices and training opportunities. The Ministry of Health anticipates that the Electronic Health Record EHR system will be activated in 2025.
After the software has been finalized, the next step would be the installation of the different devices and the installation of the software on those different devices. So it's going to be the distribution of tablets and the installation of computers in all of the multiple departments throughout the entirety of the health system, So that would be every department, every ward, every health center, all of the peripheral sites. After that part is done, or whilst that is being done, the next stage would be the training of the staff. So bit by bit, all of the staff members will have to then be trained in the utilization of the digital health record system, such that persons get accustomed to inputting information, accustomed to knowing how to retrieve information, accustomed to knowing how to update information, how to order tests, how to read the test digitally, how to do basic troubleshooting, and all of those things. All of that is going to be the focus for 2025. So the staff will be trained, and there's going to be continuous medical education with regards to the continuous training of the staff on the EHR system. And then the final step, which we think is going to be ready by the end of the second quarter of 2025, would be the full-blown launch of that digitization for the benefit of the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The health records system will benefit health professionals and patients alike. It will offer digital intelligence to health professionals so that they can respond to emergency-related incidents. Morton said members of the general public would have their part to play to ensure that their information is registered in the system.
We'll be asking citizens, whilst they're still healthy, to bit by bit make their way to the nearest health institution when the time comes, so that we can get your information registered for you before you enter into a period of crisis or need, such that when you have your emergency and you enter the hospital with nothing more than knowing your name or an ID number, because ID cards will also be used, but with knowing just a name or an ID number or some basic demographic information, we can find and pull up your file in a matter of seconds with the entirety of your medical history, such that we can get a clearer picture as to what is happening with you immediately without the need to overly pester and overly question you on a multitude of things that maybe we would have asked you in the past. That's one of the big benefits. And also other things with regards to the generation of medical reports, it becomes a lot faster and it becomes a lot easier. With regards to the decrease in errors secondary to issues of handwriting, it's decreased because errors secondary to typos are far less common than errors secondary to handwriting, and we will aim to keep all errors to an absolute minimum, and it just improves everything with every aspect of your health, nearly everything, with every aspect of your health system.
The health records system reflects St. Kitts and Nevis's growing interest in strengthening health services as part of the Federation's Sustainable Island State agenda. Dr. Morton said it would be a hallmark achievement. The Nevis Electricity Company, NEVLEC, will be developing a grid code to ensure the safety, solidity, and efficiency of the electricity supply in Nevis. While he welcomes the growing adaptation to clean energy solutions, Premier Mark Brantley, during his fiscal year 2025 budget presentation, explained that the need arises to regulate the functioning of customers or clients in the power system.
We are aware that individuals and business entities are also taking the initiative to diversify into the area of renewables by installing rooftop solar panels to supplement their energy needs while remaining connected to our grid system. I want to emphasize that while people are putting solar panels on their businesses and residences, they are still remaining connected to the NEVLEC system. While we welcome their push for diversity, there is a need for us now to develop a grid code which will regulate how these entities will enter and exit the NEVLEC grid system. I must advise that NEVLEC will immediately institute a monthly standing charge for consumers who are installing their own alternative power but remain connected to the grid.
In case of any mishaps, the grid code would make provisions to ensure grid security for clients.
You would recognize that your continued connection to the grid is serving as backup power for your entity in the event of failure of your system. This requires NEVLEC to always keep spare capacity on hand to facilitate your immediate return to the grid if your private system fails. The ability to facilitate your immediate return to the grid without negatively affecting existing consumers will come at a cost to NEVLEC, which has to be shared by you. Put differently, there will be a cost for you to stay connected to the grid for backup power. Further details of this will be included in the proposed grid code.
The grid code is expected to focus on operational measures and technological advancements and also prioritize safety and global best practices.
This grid code will outline the technical and operational standards for the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. It will provide guidelines for integrating renewable energy sources into the grid, ensure adherence to safety standards that protect both the infrastructure and the public, and serve to reduce the risks of accidents while ensuring compliance with international best practices.
Meanwhile, NEVLEC intends to implement battery energy storage systems, which will herald a new era for Nevis's energy sector when it is placed online.
Madam President, NEVLEC is also advancing its effort to implement battery storage systems in support of the integration of renewables into our energy supply. This system seeks to store excess energy generated from the renewable sources, such as solar and wind power, to provide immediate emergency backup power in the event of outages or disruptions, enhancing the resilience of the electricity supply. Put differently, we're now going to invest in some battery backup. The stored energy will also provide essential support for grid stability by balancing supply and demand, particularly during the peak usage period. It is expected that this battery storage system will be located at the renewable energy project site, allowing for efficient energy storage of excess energy generated during low load periods for further use during peak demand periods. A battery storage installation is also planned for the Prospect Power Plant site to provide backup and spinning reserve support for existing generation sets.
NEVLEC is actively pursuing several renewable energy projects as short-term responses to energy woes, as well as the long-awaited geothermal energy project. Air connectivity to destination St. Kitts has been further enhanced with the services of Cape Air, which commenced on December 7, 2024. As the airline continues to expand its regional service, it will provide customers with itineraries from the United States Virgin Islands to St. Kitts to experience the island's rich cultural history, delectable cuisine, white sandy beaches, and warm and friendly people. Scheduled flights are expected 4 times weekly on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. The Ministry of Tourism hosted a welcome reception for Cape Air on Saturday, December 7 at Cayenne Jet Lounge. The airline's arrival was also marked with a symbolic water salute by the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services. Quote, Cape Air's new service reflects our commitment to enhancing connectivity for St. Kitts and underscores the destination's readiness to facilitate increased travel and economic growth. This partnership is another step in making St. Kitts more accessible to travelers within the region and beyond, Tourism Minister Marcia Henderson stated as she welcomed the new airline. At a tourism press conference on October 31, Henderson said that the partnership with Cape Air came as a result of multiple requests for air connectivity from the USVI to St. Kitts. Cape Air, through its partnership with JetBlue, also allows passengers to expand their travel horizons for connectivity to and from other source markets, such as Boston, where St. Kitts and Nevis currently have limited services. In addition, Cape Air continues to provide its twice-weekly travels to Nevis, Fridays and Sundays, having recommenced the service to the island in February 2023. Premier of Nevis Mark Grantley spoke fondly of Cape Air during his budget address on December 5, 2024.
We continue to partner with Cape Air on the St. Thomas to Nevis route, which has been witnessing high passenger yields. This partnership with KPA has also blossomed into a St. Croix to Nevis route, granting scores of divisions in St. Croix and easier access of movement in and out of Nevis.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Tourism St. Kitts and Nevis remains optimistic about an increase in passenger arrivals during the winter season as Delta returns for another season commencing on December 21, 2024 and concluding on April 26, 2025.
You were listening to the Week in Review here on WINN FM 98.9. Thank you for listening and have a productive week.